Dan Satachi at the 1-minute mark here, the opening period, finding the back of the net on a breakaway, defensive breakdown for Monarchs, and Satachi found himself all alone in behind the defenders.
Satachi all alone there behind the defenders as we're just getting underway here. Booth, 1 minute into this semifinal, and the Niagara Rebels in white are up 1-0 over the Niagara Monarchs in purple. 93 there winds and fires. So the Monarchs take that rebound, lead the rush here. Here's an opportunity. 31 on the backhand, was trying to connect with Schramm out front. Interception now by the Monarchs. There's Schramm trying to work the give and go. 93 here in the corner with it for the Monarchs. The Monarchs throw it into the crease, or into the slot, rather. The Rebels away with it now. There's 88. 1-on-5 rush, so it's going to be difficult to make anything out of that. The ball gets chipped out of play and will remain deep in the Monarchs zone. Just to the right, a goaltender, Aaron Campesano. You'll hear me refer to him often as Compy. So he's known around these parts. Early 1-0 lead here for the Niagara Rebels. Both of these teams looking to punch their ticket into the finals later today. The Rebels are in tight once again on Compy, who this time makes the stop. Stephen Alvo there, number 74, taking the draw for the Niagara Rebels. He's got Marcus Lagerstrom on the left side. And it is number 83, Gabe Rugi, on the right side. 3 left shots on this line. There's Rugi with it now. Throwing it back to the point. Spins to the middle. Throws it back down into Rugi's feet. Nice little play by Lagerstrom to find the open defenseman. That shot, though, hits something on its way to the net. Deflected up out of play. So we'll reset again next to the right of Compy. 2 minutes, 34 seconds gone here of the opening period. Already 1-0 Niagara Rebels over Niagara Monarchs. Dan Satachi with the goal. The Monarchs are away here, but we're outnumbered defensively by the Rebels, who have the ball and work it up the far wing. They gain the blue line and dump it in. Ballhockey.com rules. Just have to gain the blue line in order to throw it the length of the floor and avoid icing. Both these teams are very well balanced. They each survived 3 games of the round robin. Then a quarterfinal earlier this morning. Now this is their semifinal, where one team will go on to the final and play for $8,400. The loser here in this game still gets $1,400. The second place finisher, so whoever loses the finals this afternoon, doubles that money and gets $2,800. So the prize pool here, quite large, $14,000 in all, courtesy of Ballhockey.com and our title sponsor, Bauer, for Clash of the Titans 2015. As Cerniak kicks one aside with his right pad. Greg Cerniak, goaltender for the Niagara Rebels. 2 of the best ball hockey goaltenders around facing off against each other here in the semifinal. Greg Cerniak between the pipes in white for the Niagara Rebels. And then the other end of the floor, it's Aaron Campesano. Again, known mostly as Compy. And these 2 goaltenders are absolutely both make Ballhockey.com and the Niagara region their homes, but international competition has proven that not only are they 2 of the best here in Niagara, they're 2 of the best in the ball hockey world. So the Rebels were looking to make something of a rush there. Matthew David almost springing in alone there, number 70, trying to do something himself. Nearly did. Schramm now back to pick up that ball. Schramm 7 there in the white helmet. He's playing catch with the Rebels defenseman. It's Joey Barbas, number 9. There's a whole lot of Barbases here. Number 88 is Josh Barbas. He is on a line here. Number 27, Mike Barbas. And also number 64, Jesse Barbas. And Joey Barbas, the defender, just going off. Now, that's the Barbas rule. No more than 3 Barbases on the floor at any one time. So one of the 4 Barbases. Of course, I'm joking there, but do find it strange to have is on the same team. But here they are, and that's Joey Barbas. Sorry, make that Josh Barbas, number 88. There's Schramm with it, number 7. Still with the ball now. The Monarchs enter the zone. Just, though, they don't make it much beyond the blue line. The Rebels clear the ball down. 71 has it now. Here's an opportunity. 74 with a quick, that's Alvo, I believe. Found himself with the ball on his stick, right in the slot. 93 with a slap shot that makes it all the way through, but Compy is positioned properly to stop that one. The Rebels continue to push the pace of play here and stay on the attack against the Niagara Monarchs. That ball just gets chipped into the webbing. Referee had a key eye on that. Niagara Rebels goal scored by number 91, Dan Sitachi. To number 17, Kevin Kuzmarski. Sitachi from Kuzmarski, giving the Rebels the 1-0 lead. That ball just gets deflected out of play, so we've got a face-off now to the left of Compy. Down in the Monarch zone, Monarchs in purple, Rebels in white. The Rebels go D to D. It's intercepted, though, on the far wall. The Monarchs throw it back down low. 12 walks away with it, not before getting stick checked by 16, forcing a turnover. Monarchs can't make anything of it. So the Rebels, 2 men behind their own net. Now one defers to the other. Over to the far side there. 70 trying to work again for a scoring opportunity. And 17 fires just high and wide. Monarchs on the near boards. He needs a change, though, so softly throws it down deep in the Rebel zone. Cross ice now to 17. That's Kuzmarski. Kuzmarski over to one of the Barbases. He throws it in. Now the Monarchs turn it around rather quickly. 93 threw a backhand pass through the slot, was unable to connect or get a good deflection. Rebels try to spring somebody right through the middle. Can't connect, but the ball stays deep. Now it's Josh Barbas. He winds and fires. That hits something in front. Ends up over, out of play. Most of the play thus far in the first period has been played in the Monarch zone. Rebels generating more scoring opportunities than the Monarchs and thus find themselves ahead 1-0. Slim margin, however, for the Rebels. That's Mike. Over to Jesse. Joey's behind the net. Or is that Josh? That's Jesse there. That's Josh. Or is that Jesse? It's tough. It's the Barbises. Here's 18 as he breaks away. His shot goes directly out of play. No deflection, no nothing. Just a bit outside on that. Keith Dale, 19, the forward for the Niagara Monarchs. We got Schramm on the right side. Van Ryn on the left side. And down the middle, it's Jeff Jones for the Niagara Monarchs as Schramm applies some pressure. We got Ruji here with the ball. Over to Lagerstrom. Finds Alvo in the middle. Lagerstrom now. Over to 93. He spins and fires the ball deep. 71 back here for the Monarchs. Rings it around to Schramm. That ball, though, still unable to clear the zone for the Monarchs. And here's an opportunity now. Alvo just missing Ruji with that pass. Finds Lagerstrom, who's hanging out behind the net. Tries a bit of a reverse. Gets his own ball back, however, before it's dispossessed by the Monarchs. They throw it the length of the surface, so that will be icing. 2:54 to go in the first period. Niagara Monarchs have been hemmed in their zone for almost the entire period, except for a few flashes. Kuzmarski make that with the ball again is 17. That's Kevin Kuzmarski. Nice play there by Compy to briefly get the ball off of Kuzmarski, who has it again in the slot. He fires and shoots. Scores! The Rebels forecheckers just simply were not accounted for. It was Kuzmarski who carried the ball in deep, went behind the net. Briefly, Compy, the goaltender, was able to get a stick check on him. But then Kuzmarski found himself just wide open, right in the slot, 4 feet from the net. So they just softed a little pass out to him, did Matthew David, and Kuzmarski deposited that high in the glove hand side. And it's 2-0 now. Niagara Rebels over the Niagara Monarchs. 2:23 to go in the first period. Nice goal, gotta say, nice goal. See if the Monarchs here can answer before the first period. I know they'd like to. See if they can kind of tilt the floor the other way right now. It's tilted the opposite way that the Niagara Monarchs would like. Good defense there as he was able to catch up to one of the Barbises. Over to a Barbis. Finds another Barbis. And this Barbis has it. Throws it over to 12 now. His shot goes wide. The referee is blowing the whistle. We got a nice upshot view there of Mike Barbis. It was Mike Barbis, number 27. His face got introduced to the glass there as part of that play. States thought there was a penalty. Referees see it otherwise. Now we will have some penalties issued as the referee has decided that a player from each side needs to take a couple of minutes to cool off. So with 1:46 to go in the first period, we'll find ourselves here with 4-on-4 hockey for the rest of this period. The Rebels going with 2 forwards, 2 defensemen. It's Alvo and Lagerstrom up front. We got Joey Barbis, number 9 on the back end, and number 12, John Adamu. Tyler Schramm taking the draw here for the Monarchs. Wins it forward, but Adamu has it now. Adamu waiting for his teammates to get into position. Now they are, so throws one up to the half wall to Lagerstrom, who returns the favor. Adamu now looking for something. Decides to go back. He's being chased by Schramm, who loses his stick. And they walk away with a 4-on-3. Over to Lagerstrom. Back now to Adamu. Shakes another defender with his legs. Works towards the net. And gets hammered down. Penalty coming up here to the Niagara Monarchs. Made a pretty heavy check as he made his way into the slot area. It's Brian Wrighton who's going to take the penalty call there. Probably did a little more than standing his ground, and that's why he's being assessed the 2-minute minor. Four-on-3 power play now for the Niagara Rebels. Lots of floor to work with. It's David with the ball. David's got it now over to 7. They play catch. Tries to work the seam before it closes. Here's the 3-on-2 opportunity now. No one-timer there either. They pass back and forth before the shot finally goes wide. Matthew David now behind the back pass. Finds 17 open. That's Kuzmarski. Kuzmarski has backed himself into no man's land, and so gets rid of it. Here's a chance. Wines, fires, scores. Matthew David, number 70. No celly from David like he's done it before. Just turns, heads back to his teammates, back to the bench to celebrate a 3-0 first period lead for the Niagara Rebels. This is the most adversity that the Monarchs have seen all tournament long. They came out of the round robin as the top seed. Got a bye to the quarterfinals. They won that this morning and now find themselves down 3-0 with 30 seconds to go in the first period in their semifinal. Don't know what the referees are doing here. They're trying to figure out who comes out of the penalty box. It's a little interesting in ball hockey because when two players are assessed what is normally considered coincidental minors, both teams are actually short a man. So what actually occurs here is the first penalized player, his penalty is now up. So at the end of this, the Niagara Rebels will actually have another abbreviated power play if I've figured it all out correctly. As the teams were 4-on-4 initially, Brian Wrighton picked up another penalty for the Niagara Monarchs, and he is still in the box. So 4-on-4 action now. 83 has it. Looking to work for a scoring chance here with under 10 seconds to play. 83 doesn't shoot. 93 thinks he will. And the referee indicating that he's going to call a penalty on that. 93 was winding up for the shot. 93 for the Rebels, that is. And then it was Tanner McGowan, number 93, for the Niagara Monarchs, that was able to intercept that pass, tip it in front of him. And as McGowan ran by him, he decided to play the stick on stick. And the referee sees that that's hooking or interference or what have you. So it is going to be a little interesting here as to see what happens. By math, the Niagara Monarchs will actually begin this period with a 4-on-3 man advantage for about 11 seconds. And then the Rebels will come back on, or at least the penalized Rebels player will come back on for a 4-on-4. And then when Brian Wrighton comes back on, then the Monarchs will once again go to the power play 5-on-4. I know it's a little confusing, but basically for the next 2 minutes, there will be sessions where the Niagara Monarchs have a power play, and there will be a period of time when the two teams are playing 4-on-4 hockey. That's how it all shakes out to me. Niagara Rebels' second goal scored by number 17, Kevin Kuzmarski. Assist to number 70, Matthew David. Rebels' second goal. Kuzmarski from David. Niagara Rebels' third goal on the power play, scored by number 70, Matthew David. David, unassisted on the power play, putting the Rebels up by 3. 3-0 to begin the third period. Make that the second period. And just as I thought, the Niagara Monarchs begin here with a 4-on-3 advantage. And the referees are trying to figure out exactly how this all transpires, but it's fairly straightforward. In 11 seconds from now, the original penalized player who went off on the coincidental for the Niagara Rebels will come out. So this will be an 11-second, I believe, 11-second free. Then we'll play 4-on-4 hockey for about 60 seconds. And then when Brian Wrighton, the penalized player for the Niagara Monarchs, comes out, the Monarchs will then go to a 5-on-4 man advantage, albeit abbreviated. Okay, I think we're ready to go here. 3-0. Rebels in the white over the Niagara Monarchs in the purple. Second period is now underway as the Rebels get the ball deep and then retreat to on the defensive. 4 strong here for the Monarchs. There's a long shot. Cerniak stops that with the left pad. Adamu, number 12 for the Rebels, is able to ice that one. Long shot there by Nick Sider, number 17. Winds and fires from the point. Schramm had the ball on his stick momentarily off the backboards, but Cerniak was able to close the gap. So here we have the 5-on-4 action that we were speaking of. 5-on-4, a minute gone here in the second period. Cerniak dives out to cover that, making sure the Monarchs are unable to generate any sort of offense. And, of course, giving his bench and his coach the opportunity to get the right personnel out there. So fresh out of the box and onto the floor, Brian Wrighton going to play the right point here for the Niagara Monarchs. Schramm is under center for the Monarchs, number 7. Garrett Russell is playing the right wing, number 64. The referee blows that one down. Both teams making some minor changes. We got Josh Barbas under center for the Rebels. Loses it to the Monarchs. Right now in a battle with Lagerstrom. Monarchs end up with the ball out of that one. Monarchs appear to be winning a few more ball battles here in the second period, and as such are getting a few more opportunities in the Rebel zone, albeit most of the second period has been on the power play. That's where they find themselves now. Right softs one into the slot. Dangerous deflection there off the stick of Van Vliet, number 74 for the Monarchs. Redirected it, but Cerniak had the paddle down, so he was able to feel that and make sure there was no rebound, no second opportunity. There's a shot that gets deflected by Wrighton. 83 backhands that down the length of the surface. As their penalty action here, just past the 10-minute mark of the second period. Wrighton dumps it in deep. 24 in pursuit. The Monarchs are able to turn it over. That pass to the point, though, got picked off by Lagerstrom. Shot from just outside the blue line, just misses. Turned away, here's a breakaway for 93. 93 able to beat by the goaltender, and he scores! Nice goal for the Niagara Monarchs. Tanner McGowan. Looked almost the exact same as the first goal scored by the Niagara Rebels, where all of a sudden he found himself in behind the defenseman, right at the far blue line. They connected on and sprung him in all alone. Cerniak came out to try and play the ball, but turned out to be ill-advised. McGowan has some pretty good legs under him, won that race, and from that point it was just a simple move to the left or move to the right and deposited into the back of the net as the Rebels here are on the attack, trying to flex their muscles. Niagara Monarchs goal scored by number 93, Tanner McGowan. Assists 24, Joel Van Vliet. And number 5, Brian Wrighton. McGowan from Van Vliet and Wrighton putting the Monarchs on the board. And just as we're letting everybody know here, Niagara Rebels end up getting a goal of their own. .64 appeared to have tripped over a pebble there and gets up limping. I just hope he's okay for his next shift. Lagerstrom now back to the point. 7 winds, fires. That goes wide. Wrighton with the ball. Calmly throws one up to his centerman who leads the rush. Throws it over to his left winger. Fans on a shot, but it still makes it all the way to Cerniak, who has no option but to cover. So we've got a face-off now deep in the Rebel zone. What's interesting is all tournament long we've seen a lot of very, very close games. And here in the semifinals, we find ourselves with a 3-goal differential just 4 minutes into the second period. That's about the most that any two teams have been apart all tournament long. Schramm is able to golf one in the direction of his winger. That shot attempt, though, got deflected, so ends up in the webbing behind the goal of Greg Cerniak. Face-off coming up now. 4:16 gone in the second period. This is the semifinals of the 2015 Clash of the Titans tournament, courtesy of Ballhockey.com. My name is Kevin Jack, and along with Brandon Scram, we are WeeStream. We are available to stream your next event. Contact Ballhockey.com or see the info of any of the YouTube pages for our contact information. We'd be happy to provide live videography, multicam streaming for your event. And another Rebels player is down. It's Matthew David. As he comes to, and once again appears to be okay. And I apologize for being critical, but we seem to have seen a few too many soccer injuries out here today, where players are so injured that they writhe on the ground to stop the play, yet immediately afterwards seem to be okay. Case in point right here. Enough to stop the play. He seems to be good enough to carry on. So just a miraculous recovery, and now the referee is telling him that, unfortunately, because you were injured, you have to go to the bench. David's played a good game so far today. I believe he scored a couple of the goals for the Niagara Rebels. And that quick whistle means David can go back out with his line mates, and so we'll assume his position there on the left wing. It's Wrighton flipping it in. He's the first one after it. Absorbs the body, finds a teammate behind the net. That was a sharp shot. Served sharp to make the stop, and he did. Kuzmarski now. Up to David. David didn't like getting bodied there, so has a few words. And now David has picked himself up his own minor penalty. He picked up his own minor penalty for just being, well, I'll let you judge. But it's an unsportsmanlike conduct, so it's nothing that he did on the floor. It's everything to do with what he did with his mouth. And sure, you're a nice guy, Mr. David, and all, but the referees have seen a little too much of you so far. So the Rebels players now trying to plead their case. And the referees are saying, don't embarrass me. 2 seconds ago, the same player looked like he'd been shot on the floor. So forgive me if I don't pay too much next time he goes down. And that's what the referees are telling the Rebels players. I don't know what the argument is on a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I think they wanted something called on the initial play. I can understand their desire to want something. I understand the referee's desire to not call something. It's been a tough job for the men in stripes all weekend long, trying to find that perfect balance between letting the players play, at the same time making sure that it's a fair competition and keeping people from getting hurt. The Monarchs on the power play here. 4-1 deficit. Wrighton picks that out of the air, gloves it down, over to 16 now. Back to Wrighton. Ball everywhere but the back of the net. Monarchs appeared to have a couple of whacks at that. Wrighton now with the ball on his stick. Goes D to D. Over to the left side now with the right shot. McGowan with it, 93. Just loses it momentarily. 84 has it, thinks about shooting. .64 with the ball. Back to 24. He shoots. That sails wide. And the Rebels throw that ball the length of the floor. 5:45 to go here in the second period. Rebels in white up 4-1 over the Niagara Monarchs in purple. Monarchs on the power play. Not for much longer, however. Ross slowly brings the ball up. Tried to feed something through. Well, the Rebels bring it up with Adamo. And that's an easy call for the referee with all eyes on that. Adamo got tangled up there with trying to figure out who this is for the Niagara Monarchs. He's making his way to the penalty box. It's Curtis Dale, number 15. Just got tangled up in the corner, but as they were separating, I think he tried to shove Adamo, and his hands got a little high and into the face, so the referee had his eyes on him and saw that was an easy call for rough. So 4-on-4 here. Briefly, until the penalty of David expires. There's an attempt to try and spring Schramm. He's the first one on the ball. By himself, however, trying to make something out of a 1-on-2 and just couldn't do it. One of the Barbas is here with the ball. Trying to gain the zone. And it's a 5-on-4, man advantage now as the penalty to the Rebels has expired. So nice little pass through to a Barbas. Couldn't quite control the pass, however. Did find Kuzmarski, who scores. Beautiful goal there by Kevin Kuzmarski. It was Barbas that found him with the initial pass. It was a good scoring opportunity. It looks like the save, but it was Kuzmarski who was able to corral the deflection off the backboard and then beat Compy to the far post with a wraparound. 5-1 now. Niagara Rebels leading the Niagara Monarchs. Here's a chance now for Lagerstrom. It's taken away, though, by the Monarchs. 64 for the Monarchs. Almost got the zone, but then turned around, thought better of it. 71 goes D to D. Up the wall now. Glides to the middle before firing it over to the left side. They've gained the zone, the Monarchs have. 74 now with a shot that gets deflected right to a teammate. Finds the cutter, who can't find the back of the net. Nice little setup there as 16. Ryan Pilkington was cruising through the slot from his defensive position, and they hit him with the pass. He had a good chance, but Greg Cerniak made a better save. 5-1 lead now. Rebels over Monarchs. That's going to be nice. Niagara Rebels, 5th goal scored by number 17, Kevin Kuzmarski. Assists to number 7, Pierre-Marc Chernier, and number 88, Josh Barbas. That's Kuzmarski from Chernier and Barbas, putting Niagara Rebels up 5-1 over the Monarchs. Rebels here setting up behind their own zone. Trying to find Satachi at the far blue line. That's how they scored their first goal today. Seems like a distant memory since they've scored 4 more. Defender spins away from his check. Makes a nice little pass to Kuzmarski, who flips it this side to Satachi. Throws it back to the point. There's a turnover. Quick shot by the Monarchs. Just goes wide. Monarchs now on the attack. 93 takes a high stick. He reacted pretty dramatically and pretty instantaneously to made me believe he probably got clipped with a high stick there. Don't know if there's any blood, so David, number 70, going to go to the box for that one. Inadvertent. The Monarchs bench is calling for 4. We'll see what the referees decide. Not exactly sure at what is the determining factor in a 4-minute versus a 2-minute. But we know that blood is one of them. It's an obvious call. And my apologies to David. It's not David going to the box. It's number 7. It's Pierre-Marc Chernier, number 7, going to the box. And it is definitely going to be a 4-minute as we see the Monarch player here coming off, and he's dripping a little bit, so there's definitely blood on the towel. And now the referees have put somebody else in the box, but not exactly sure who. A little bit of confusion here, but I think it is all set. Imagine that's going to be a double minor at least. So 2:26, 4-minute man advantage here for the Niagara Monarchs, 5-on-4. This is their chance if they're going to get back into it. They almost need here definitely on this double minor. There's a nice opportunity as Wrighton just slid one through the slot. It bounced over a couple of his teammates' sticks that were looking to redirect it. Over to Wrighton here on the right side. Up to 89, who snaps one in the direction of the net. Dangerous rebound. Schramm picks that up. Looking to work it towards the front of the net. Good stick, though, by the Rebels to steer that away, and they throw it the length of the floor. Quickly, though, the Monarchs are back to get it. Up over the blue line as 17 fires one on net. Just goes wide. Rebels have it. And once again, throw it back down to the Monarch zone. There's Compy out to play it. Quick up to Wrighton. Into 19. Over to Schramm. Schramm has it. Finds Van Ryn behind the net. Van Ryn flips it. Sharp angle here. Thinks about shooting. Now back to Van Ryn, who found Wrighton. The ball just skipped over his stick. One of the Barbas is here, throwing the ball up. Now the Monarchs come out once again on the power play. Thought about shooting. Instead, decided to dump it into the corner. Rebels are the first one at it. Josh Barbas turns to his forehand, uses the glass. 74 with it now. Looking to go cross, and he does. Now 84 in a shooting position, so he decides to take the shot. Gets blocked, though, on the way to the net. And with 10 seconds to go here in the second period, the Niagara Monarchs may have an opportunity for one last shot. They gain the blue line. 84 flips it in, or 64 rather. Probably didn't know that they were running out of time. And the second period draws to a close. Niagara Rebels kept their foot on the gas in that second period, and they have expanded their lead to 5-1. Just 12 minutes to go here in the third period. Not quite sure what the Monarchs can do here to break through and beat the Rebels. This is probably the best game that the Rebels have played thus far this tournament. Every game they've played has been a good one. but they seem to have been getting increasingly better throughout the tournament. The team looks a little more cohesive, and this game is definitely a good example of that. 5-1. They lead the Niagara Monarchs going into the third period. So just 12 minutes now is keeping the Niagara Rebels away from the championship game, where they will at least be guaranteed $2,800. The winner gets $8,400. You are watching the 2015 Clash of the Titans Ball Hockey Tournament, courtesy of Ballhockey.com and title sponsor Bauer Hockey. 14 teams began the weekend on Friday. 14 elite teams from across North America, each of them paying $1,000, creating a $14,000 prize pool, and all of the money going back into the prize. First place, $8,400. That will be decided in this afternoon's finals. Right now, we're trying to figure out which team is going to be joining the Midnight Express for a shot at $8,400. Will it be the Rebels? Looks like it right now. 5-1 lead going into the third period that just gets underway. Or will the Monarchs have a stunning come-from-behind victory here? If they do, you have to think they have to go on the power play, and that's how they begin the third period, on a power play. Little backhander at the net there. Didn't work for the Monarchs. D to D now. Wines. Shoots. That hit a body on the way to the net. Deflects into the corner. Monarchs still with the ball. Still on the power play. There was a nice little play by the Monarchs. They were able to find 74 kind of in the mid-seam. Unfortunately, 74 probably wanted to one-time that ball, but for one reason or another unable to do so. So I just had to handle it for a second. And that was the second that Greg Cerniak needed to get across and cut down the angle to make that stop. Cerniak, goaltender for the Niagara Rebels, face off to his left. Back to the Monarchs defenseman. Quick little snapshot through to the net. Doesn't work, though. Over to 24 on the near boards. His shot attempt doesn't make it through. Now you got Lagerstrom going for a run, 24. Now on the back check. Schramm looking to make something happen himself for the Monarchs, but too many Rebels are back on that. .10:29 is when we expect the penalized player to come out. Here's a long shot by the Monarchs. And the penalized player did not come out there, so maybe my timing is off, or I don't understand the penalty. Minute major. 4 minutes. Getting the call, 4 minutes. Not sure exactly when it happened, though. The Monarchs continue to be on the power play. And they're going to go to the penalty themselves. That was an easy call for the referee, and an even easier call from here. Joel Van Vliet, 74. A little too aggressive on the forecheck there, and got his arms all wrapped up and around number 9, Joey Barbas. And was tugging at his jersey and tugging at one of his limbs, so the referee made the call there. Well, some 4-on-4 until one of the penalties expires. Rebels win the draw. 4-on-4 action. 9:50 to go in the third period. Adamo shakes and bakes over to 58 now. That's Huckalo. Back to Adamo. Adamo sauce one through. unmarked player right in front. 4-on-4 hockey, no reason for any player to be left wide open like that in front of the Monarchs goal, and I'm sure that's what the purple players are thinking right now, looking at each other going, who had that guy? Well, nobody did. Stevie Alvo was all alone in front and was able to fake out Compy, forehand, backhand, and then put it into the back. And then all the while, there was a commotion going on behind the net as a Monarch and Rebel player ended up tangled. But the Niagara Monarchs decide to call their timeout here, trailing by 5 with just over 9.5 minutes to go in the third period.
Timeout. Monarchs.
Look at everybody in the whole place. Their hands in their pockets. But you would figure with this many people, the place would warm up. But usually you put hundreds of people in the place.
Really, it's just pour cold air in.
As the timeout draws to a close, we'll see what the Niagara Monarchs are able to do here in the remaining minutes of the game. For the Monarchs, it's been a great opening run. This is a team of Niagara players that just came together over the last couple of months to put together a tournament team called the Niagara Monarchs, and I believe this is their debut. They had a big fundraising event a couple of weeks ago just to kind of build up a treasure chest for the team and probably pay for their jerseys and what have you. And here they are, resplendent in their purple and finding themselves in for a payday. I know they probably hoped that it was more, but a lot of the teams that they beat and a lot of the teams in this tournament are some of the best across North America and are well established in that. These are teams and players that have been playing together with the same systems and familiarity for years and have had success doing so. So for the Niagara Monarchs to make it to the Final Four at Clash of the Titans 2015, definitely a feather in their cap. Satachi now with it. Throws it up the wall to Huckalo. The Monarchs throw it the length of the floor, but they are shorthanded now, so no icing. Barbas. Back to 93. 93's pass for Satachi, a little too. That's Andrew Cameron, number 93. That's Huckalo, over to Cameron. Barbas gets the line, back to Cameron. Kuzmarski. As David winds and fires. There he is again with it, David. He backhands it softly, deep into the corner where Cameron has it, number 93. Barbas nearly had Compy fooled. Then Compy's forced to make another save from the point. Over to Kuzmarski here. Trying to work his way towards the net, but the made sure that didn't happen. Ball just comes outside the zone, so temporary reprieve for the Monarchs, and how temporary? Very. Kuzmarski nearly scores his third of the game. It looked like he had a small little window there to slip the ball behind Compy, but just couldn't catch up to it. 89 now for the Monarchs. Loses the handle. Wrighton now. Works D to D. Over to number 4. Soft one. Goes the length of the floor. Icing, though, has been waved off. Nice move by Adamau at the back end. That was solid, Brogan. That's Brogan there, coming in from the kitchen here, the kitchen staff, the Ballhockey.com Athletic Center, and the bar upstairs. Jason Moss is your executive chef, doing terrific work up there. probably the best ball hockey facility in North America. Haven't seen them all, but unparalleled from what we hear. With an indoor rink that you're seeing now, an outdoor rink, full change room, workout rooms, showers, and the bar upstairs. Standalone, the bar upstairs is an exceptional drinking spot. The food is fantastic, and it's attached to this facility. So it's a win-win all around. It's Barbas behind the net for the Rebels. Just past the halfway mark of the third period. Rebels less than 6 minutes away from going to the finals with a chance to play for $8,400. A little bit of physicality in behind the play as the players jawing with each other, but nothing more than that. I think the inevitability of the outcome of this game is beginning to sink in on both sides, so I wouldn't expect there to be much pushback here from the Niagara Monarchs in the dying minutes. I wish them all the best, but anyone that's been on the wrong side of a 6-1 game with just over 5 minutes to go knows that they haven't come back to win many of those. People didn't like that from 74, who were right after him. And just as I say, I wouldn't expect much fight back. And those are the two players that were just jawing at each other. So Van Vliet there, number 74 for the Niagara Monarchs, and number 88, Josh Barbas. Those two players are the two that were exchanging words at the end of the last whistle. Then as soon as they dropped the ball again, it looked like Van Vliet beeline for Barbas when he had the opportunity. I don't think he meant to do what he did. He was fairly apologetic right after the play, but it doesn't change what he did. And the referees have decided that the rest of the 5.5 minutes would probably be spent better without his participation. And referees just trying to sort this whole thing out. Van Vliet, the only penalized player on the play. It looked for a minute as though they had singled out Barbas, and they had not. He had done nothing wrong on the play, so. Sometimes we're up here trying to interpret the referee's hand signals as the play is developing to see who's going to the box, and momentarily it looked as though they had singled out Barbas, but they have not. As he flips the ball to the referee, and we're about to get back on. So power play here for the Niagara Rebels, although I don't know that they've necessarily geared themselves up for another goal, although you never know. Up 6-1 already. I don't know that the 7th will make a difference in the game, but doesn't mean that they should stop trying to score it. So the referee side having a few words with Sean Laguerre, coach and manager for the Niagara Monarchs. And they both appear to be on the same page, which means we're about to get underway with exactly 5.5 minutes to go in the third period. The Monarchs win the draw. Greg Cerniak gloves that and then lays it down for his defenseman. That's Huckalo over to Barbas. Adamo was able to knock that out of midair and now has control of the ball in the corner. The pass, though, is intercepted at 24 for the Monarchs. Decided to circle back and kill a few more seconds off the clock, which is time the Monarchs cannot afford. That cross-ice pass gets deflected out of the zone. Quickly, though, by the Rebels. Barbas now over to Kuzmarski. Kuzmarski working it down low, down low, down low. before backhanding it back to Barbas. That shot attempt by Huckalo kind of handcuffed him a bit, so he did the best that he could to get off the one-timer. He did. A weak one that sailed high and wide, and his team could chuckle over that. And that's good to see that they're all in fine spirits here. 6-1 lead. I'm sure they're enjoying the final moments of this game because as soon as it's done, we've got a bit of a rest before they have to get back at it to take on Midnight Express in the finals for $8,400. All 14 teams that started had one goal was get into that final game. Only two would, and those two appear to be the Niagara Rebels and Midnight Express. And, of course, Ballhockey.com and WeeStream will have that game for you coming up later this afternoon. Before we're off the air here, we'll try and let you know, get official word as to when that game is going to begin. It was scheduled for a 5:30 start, and this game will probably end at 5:30. By design, they had an hour break to give this team an opportunity to rehydrate and rest before the finals, so don't know whether or not they'll chop that down to a 45-minute or half hour, but once this game expires, we'll get official word as to what the break is going to look like. That ball comes down the floor. Did he say what time the game was going to be?
He's going to ask the team that wins if they want to wait an hour or if they want to wait a half hour.
Okay, so that's the word from the officials at Ballhockey.com. The Niagara Rebels will get the option of either delaying the finals for half an hour or an hour. They have the grace of an hour, but everybody kind of hoping that half an hour will suffice, in which case the finals will get underway at about 6 p.m. It would be my guess that the Rebels will probably opt for the half hour, although you never know. Maybe there's a few players that are going to feel particularly drained after this game. They're second today and they're fifth this weekend. Back to Wrighton. He stick handles. Winds, shoots. Right on. Traffic around the net, but nobody in the lane. So Cerniak had a clear look at that and just swallowed it in the breadbasket. That ball intercepted by Lagerstrom. Throws it over. The give and go ended up back in Lagerstrom's feet. So didn't connect with Barbas. Won't matter, though, at the end of the day. The W is what they're looking for, and the Rebels appear to have it. Here's a shot. Brian Wrighton. That hits a couple of bodies, ends up in the corner. Monarchs now work it over to the near corner. 89 steps out. High shot. Cerniak stays on his feet to get that one. Wrighton in from his defensive position, but as he tried to collect that ball, just that off of its moorings there, although no real moorings. The net just stays on under its own weight, and for the most part does a fairly decent job. It's never really been an issue. .210 to go now. Wrighton with the ball. Down into the corner. Barbas takes it away. Tries to clear it and can't. Monarchs still with it on the power play. Hits his own man with that shot as the Rebels break out the other way. Here's a chance now. Adamau trying to slide one down low into the slot to his teammate who was waiting for it. As one of the Barbases grabs the ball. And dumps it down deep. There's a long shot from the Monarchs. It sails wide, ends up on the back of the net. They'll pull it off of there, keep the clock running. Last minute to play in the third period. Rebels here with a 6-1 lead. And the players kind of give each other the sign that they're done. Nothing good is going to come out of the next 43 seconds of this game. And so the referees blow the whistle, and that's it. That does it here for the semifinal. Good show here for the Niagara Monarchs. I go again, they're probably not thinking that right now, but for a brand new team to come into a tournament of this prestige and end up in the Final Four is definitely probably a better outcome than to be expected, but probably less of an outcome than they were hoping, because all teams came in here very skilled, very determined to make it to that final, but only 2 out of the 14 could. And the Niagara Rebels, with a 6-1 win, their most convincing win thus far, are now either 30 or 60 minutes away from playing for $8,400 against the Midnight Express from Brampton. And again, we'll try and let you know here. We'll try and stay on until we know what time the game is going to be played at, okay? So the cameras may be live, and it may just be running here without much commentary or what have you. But before we go off the air, we'll let you know when we'll be back. Okay, so we're not going anywhere. Just stick around, and as soon as I know, I'll let you know. So we've just got the official word. The finals will be played at 6:15, okay? 6:15 for the finals here, the 2015 Clash of the Titans, Bauer Clash of the Titans 2015, where the Niagara Rebels will face off against Brampton Midnight. Okay, 6:15 p.m. Eastern.